Hi, I'm Jacob Smith, and this is my SI-110 video project. Today, I'm going to be talking about centralized and decentralized digital currencies, specifically the Bitcoin and the VEN. First off, let's explain the concept of a digital currency. Digital currency is an alternative form of currency that is used to buy goods and services over the internet, almost always without the backing of a national government. While there have been a few, mostly defunct, digital currencies available since the mid-90s, the one that has been on everyone's radar as of late is the Bitcoin, a decentralized digital currency that runs off a P2P, or peer-to-peer, network. First released as a form of open-source software by a developer under the possible pseudonym of Satoshi Nakamoto, the Bitcoin is produced without the oversight of a central authority. Instead, the monetary supply of Bitcoin is released according to a mathematical equation. In total, only 21 million Bitcoins will ever be produced. New Bitcoins that are produced are distributed to users through a process called mining, which involves using one's computer to perform the calculations that are needed to verify transactions on the Bitcoin network. To verify the fact that a transaction is valid, computers connected to the Bitcoin network check and add to a record called the blockchain, which is really just a list of every transaction made with Bitcoin. Perhaps the most distinctive feature of the Bitcoin, aside from its lack of a central producer, is the fact that Bitcoin users are offered a fairly high level of anonymity when making transactions. When you make a transaction on the Bitcoin network, you must use two different types of data, a private key and a public address. This is quite a bit like using email in concept. By giving out your public address, which would be synonymous with your email address, you allow people to send Bitcoins. To prove that you are the user that has access to your public address, you must enter your private key, much like a password, which verifies cryptographically your right to the Bitcoin stored within. Sounds like a promising idea, right? Well, there are those who would disagree with you, mainly those that believe that a currency needs a central distributor to be successful. One such currency is called the VEN. Starting out as a Facebook application, the VEN was created by an online organization called Hub Culture in 2007 as a means for its users to exchange favors, knowledge, and ideas. According to Stan Stolniker, the founder of Hub Culture, his website's digital currency was created not only to facilitate user exchanges, but also to ease transactions for people on the site who are juggling several currencies at the same time. He maintains that the future of trading will move to P2P systems and that, due to having trust built into their foundations, social networks are an ideal place to begin the transition. Originally pegged to an exchange rate of $10 to every unit of currency, the VEN eventually started basing its value off a combination of commodities, currencies, and lastly, carbon futures. And yes, you did hear me correctly. In an effort to make the VEN greener, Hub Culture inversely linked the value of its currency to carbon futures in 2010 in the hope that folks using the VEN would have more incentive to live in an environmentally friendly fashion. In 2011, the VEN became the first digital currency to be used in a commodity trade, specifically a gold production contract in South America. I know what you're thinking, it sounds kind of shaky, right? Well, it's pretty legit, so bear with me here. Anyways, Hub Culture, seeking to legitimize the VEN by pairing with banks and financial institutions, partnered with Thomson Reuters, a multinational media and information firm, to not only calculate the value of the VEN, but to distribute the currency. Currently, the only way to obtain VEN, aside from accepting it as a payment, is to purchase it online through Hub Culture or to invite friends to the Hub Culture website. As for buying and selling with it, the VEN can be exchanged through P2P software as well as in business settings. Now that we've talked a bit about both currencies, let's see how they compare to each other as representatives of centralization and decentralization. So, how does the VEN measure up to the Bitcoin and vice versa? Well, first off, the VEN, being a centralized currency, has a guiding regulatory force, much like the Fed, that allows it to adapt to changing conditions in the global market. Since Hub Culture controls how much VEN is released, and to an extent the value of the currency, the VEN has a degree of protection against rapid inflation and deflation. Unfortunately, the stability is not present in the Bitcoin, which many claim is an inherently deflationary currency. The more that people trade in Bitcoin, the more valuable it becomes, and people are encouraged to hoard their Bitcoins, which is not good for a currency. Since there is no human component to the production and distribution of the Bitcoin, and the money supply is inherently limited, situations like the current spike in Bitcoin value cannot be prevented. However, since there is not a human element to the Bitcoin, it is immune to corruption and mismanagement by a central distributor, and many people are drawn to Bitcoin based on that fact. This highlights the basic difference between centralized and decentralized currency. While the VEN was founded on trust, the Bitcoin was founded on distrust. Where VEN seeks to partner with banks and financial institutions, Bitcoin users tend to decry these organizations as corrupt. The dichotomy of trust versus distrust can also be seen in factors other than the question of stability. For example, the Bitcoin is built in with a fair degree of anonymity, but one can really only trust themselves to keep their wallet safe, lest their money be stolen by hackers. On the other hand, the VEN is a currency that is built into a social network and therefore requires that the people or groups initiating a transaction provide some form of personal information. However, the addition of an arbitrator, in this case hub culture, provides a level of security to your online savings. Because of these factors, the Bitcoin is one of the most popular choices for online drug and weapons trades, while such a thing with a VEN is unheard of. In short, the VEN provides security and stability to those who trust it to keep running effectively, while the Bitcoin provides anonymity and redundancy to those who distrust the banks. Which type of currency is better, the one that values safety or the one that thrives on freedom? Perhaps none, perhaps both. Only time will tell. However, as the internet and the information sector continue to grow, digital currency stands poised to take up a larger and larger piece of the world economy. So, spare some change? The end. The end.